Well, hello. Welcome to Perfectly Twisted.
How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm actually really good. How are you?
Doing good. You know, it's funny for people not in Southern California, and when the show goes, we had a lot of rain, and I like the weather. I know it's going to warm up to the 80s and over the weekend, but I don't know. I just right now I like this time of year. I like the Southern California weather. I like the crisp in the air. I don't know. I kind of like that hoodie weather's kind of coming. For me, girls always have a bag to carry. For a guy, be able to throw my cell phone in, my keys, everything, just right here in my stomach without doing a fanny pack like they used to do. It was so easy. The deal for guys, and Nicole, this doesn't ever happen to girls. If you throw your cell phone in to that front pocket of your hoodie sweatshirt, and you have your keys in there too, you pull your phone out and you realize you broke your screen, and that sucks. You go,
Oh,
I broke my screen again because
wait a minute. How aggressive are you throwing this into your hoodie
no,
pocket,
it's the
Dave? That
walking.
sounds.
It's the combination of walking with the
How
phone and the
aggressive
key.
do you walk? Like
I get,
listen, I'm a girl that wears a hoodie and I put both my keys and my phone in my pocket. I
you've
have
never broken a
never,
screen?
I'm knocking on wood right now. I have
Oh,
never
I've done
cracked
it at
my
least
phone
10 times.
screen.
Done at
You're,
least 10 times.
you're doing something too aggressively.
But well, it's Dodger playoff time. Maybe I'm walking angry. I don't know what to tell you. But
You
it
had that
happens all the
whiskey and then you're out for like a brisk walk.
time.
Dave,
That's it.
no, you need to
That's
calm
it.
down. It's like what I tell my youngest, be more mindful with your movement, like slow
Oh, that's funny.
slow down. Well,
Yeah.
I know I hate weather talk, but it is
Yeah.
funny. So yesterday I had to do carpool and I really have bad luck with umbrellas. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what it is. I've bought so many umbrellas. The ones I buy for Keegan, they're like really small, compact ones. So they're just
Yeah.
stuffed in her backpack in case of an emergency. She jumps out. She's like, I've got an umbrella. She pops hers open. No problem. I don't know how old that thing is. She goes down our stairs, and then I pull out mine that I had just bought last season. It won't open. Like it's like half open, like this, like, and I'm like, what in the fuck is this? Like, what? Every season I get one that works once and it never works again. I go into my closet and I pull out one that I've had that my mother, rest in peace, had years ago. And I found it in her car when I was cleaning out her car after she passed. And I like threw it in the back of the closet. Well, that thing popped up like no problem.
Oh, there you go.
Like, how long has that been sitting there? But meanwhile, while I'm struggling with the one that won't work, I've got my coffee mug
Oh boy.
under my arm and I'm like struggling with the umbrella and the coffee is like spraying
All right.
all over me. It's all down my sweater. I'm like, I can't do carpool like this. I have to run back in the house, change my sweater. I'm yelling, I'll be down in a minute. She's like, what? She can't hear me through the rain. I'm like, "Ah." So my morning was comical.
Yes.
And then they're like, and then I get all these alerts, a tornado watch, and the rain stopped. There was no
Yeah.
more rain after the tornado watch came. And I was like, typical news.
The-
Typical weather report is they tell you after the fact, and there was nothing. It was
yeah.
uneventful, but it was
It
a
is.
nice
But it
downpour.
leads every channel news. It does in Southern California, water going down a drain, man.
So
It's a lead
dumb.
story.
Oh
Yep.
my God, we've got
Oh,
some rain, we've got some water coming out of the
yeah,
sky. Well,
absolutely.
speaking of coming out of the sky, okay, we've got a guest today who, a lot of people will look at me and say, oh, they think somehow I have a leg up in life because of work that I've done. And
Yep.
they always think that. And I say, nope, I've got crappy insurance just like everybody else. And my medical journey has been a struggle. I get the best that my insurance covers. That's like my thing, right? Is like, I'm like, okay, this is what I have to deal with. Well, let me go to the top of this chain. Let me find it. And I conjure things. I manifest things. If you put out that energy that you're looking for the best, I think you attract the best. Well, when it came to my reconstruction, I really hit a wall. And I will talk about my reconstruction journey later in another episode because it's just too long, but it was horrible. And I mean, horrible to the point where like I was on the operating table and the doctor like changed the plan on me and I was like screaming, crying. Like it was horrible. Shaking, crying, should I say, not screaming. And it's this part of the journey that they don't really tell you about. are so quick to amputate you. They're so quick to put you in treatment, and then they'll tell you like everything's going to be fine. Oh, you can get reconstruction if you want. Guess what? When you get there, it's really not that easy. You get told like, I'm going to be on a waiting list. I was on one waiting list for almost a year. And when I was top of that waiting list and they called, they wanted cash. Like they wanted thousands of dollars. And I was like, well, wait a minute. This was supposed to be covered by insurance. And if I have cash to spend, I don't think I'm giving it to you. I think I'm going to like somebody like who's great at their job, right? And it made me realize, I think with every struggle comes a silver lining. And for me, I had to take that in stride and say, well, maybe this just isn't the doctor that's supposed to operate on me. If I don't feel like I should give this person my money, then why am I allowing them to operate on me at all? And I think this is something that a lot of women face and we don't realize it, is that we are so desperate to be finished with this cancer journey that we'll just take what we can get. And a lot of that is not good. So you hear women going in and getting reconstruction and then having to go back 8 times, 9 times because they got infected or it didn't work or it was botched, all of these things. So it's a very big and scary decision. So I was in this moment of like, I need to pause and I need to figure out like what I'm doing. This is so scary. This is a permanent decision. Like if you're doing double mastectomy, it's permanent. And like, I need to rethink this. And my phone rings and my friend Vince Spinato, who I am working on the skincare and sunscreen line with, calls me and says, I'm on the board of this amazing foundation. Would you maybe speak about reconstruction at the gala? And I was like, well, sure. And I'm thinking like, but I haven't had reconstruction. I was still sitting there with one boob. And he's like, let me introduce you to the executive director. And I'm like, okay. On the call jumps this bombshell, Susan Williamson. So let me introduce her now.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for calling me a bombshell, by the
You
way.
are.
That's a great introduction. I love that.
Well, you are in more ways than one. Like, not only is she gorgeous, she's smart, she's motivated, she gets shit done. She runs this organization that is life changing. And I'm only talking about breast reconstruction because that's what they do in America. And I think that people like insurance companies think of it as a cosmetic surgery, but it's not. We don't think about the psychological part to it. And what Mission Plasticos, which is the foundation, what they do is they go worldwide and they go to low, middle income countries and they help people that are born with deformities. And why this is important, why this is so serious, is that what people don't realize is that when you're born with a deformity, and they do a lot of hand surgeries where people's fingers are, they're born with their fingers are together. They're not separate, so they can't use them. Facial deformities. Not only are they like held back by physically being able to do things, but in other cultures, when you're born that way, you're looked at as cursed. Right? So you're born and you come out with a deformity and they ostracize you. They put you away. They're like, hide that. This is strange. Is this a curse? Is this karma? What is this? And in America, we don't look at it that way, right? We look at a deformity and we say, oh my gosh, how can I help? But let's fix this. But that's not the case in other countries. So Mission Plasticos goes in and then they train the doctors in that area and in those hospitals to perform the surgeries, which is amazing because they don't just go in and fix things, right? They go in and they train the people to fix this going forward. So give us some more about it.
Sure, I'd love to. So Mission Plasticos was founded almost 27 years ago. I can't believe we've been around that long, by a doctor named Larry Nichter, who'd been on multiple medical missions, and they would go, the various organizations would land in low-income countries, under-resourced countries, perform assembly line surgeries, and then leave. And the doctors that they were leaving behind had no idea how to do follow-up care for the patients. they didn't know how to perform those surgical procedures self-sufficiently ongoing. So they relied on an endless loop of charitable organizations flying in and performing the surgeries on the patients. So Larry decided to start his own nonprofit, and there are thousands of nonprofits. So, everybody was telling him, why are you doing this? And he founded Mission Plasticos, then called Plasticos Foundation, on the principle of training. He said, why don't we go in and do less surgeries? Instead of doing, and this was in the beginning, we do much more now, but instead of doing 100 surgeries in a week, let's do 20 surgeries in a week, go slowly, provide hands-on training to the surgeons in that region with surgical instruments and supplies that are easy for them to source in their own area, and also do lectures, do all types of training, and stay in touch with them after we leave, so that they're able to perform the surgical procedures self-sufficiently. They're able to train other surgeons that come after them. And then we've really transformed the entire community rather than just the life of one patient. So he founded the organization on that principle, and we've grown and grown and grown. I've been there 11 years. And we were primarily operating in Asia and Latin America when I started, primarily on children. And by the way, we're the first North American nonprofit to treat acute burns overseas. And we have a burn program in Nepal. Now, other organizations do this now. And other organizations were treating burn contractures, so previously burned patients. But we were bringing plastic surgeons with an expertise in acute burns overseas to operate on patients coming in with third-degree acute burns, performing the surgery on them right when they're coming into the hospital, a life or death situation. So we were the first nonprofit to take that risk. There's a high mortality rate. And in 2021, we talked about this for a while, but in 2021, we thought, why aren't we doing anything in our own community? There are so many people who don't have insurance. In fact, 7% of women in the United States don't have insurance. I actually know that stat. But then there's another huge percentage of people, 13%, over 13% of women, and I'm talking about women now because that's who we operate on in the United States, who live at or below the poverty level. And they may have insurance, they may have, Medicaid, Medi-Cal, but they can't afford a copay, or there's a long waiting list for surgery. So that's a massive percentage of people. And we wanted to do something in our community. We discovered that breast reconstruction was the biggest need as far as reconstructive surgery. And we learned that through the very well-respected, wonderful organization, Susan G. Komen. After meeting with them multiple times, we discovered there's a huge need for that. And we launched our Reshaping Lives Full Circle program to provide breast reconstruction for women who didn't have access in the United States.
See, this is amazing. And the other thing is that people don't realize is you can have insurance. It doesn't mean your reconstruction is really covered by it, because
Right.
these plastic surgeons, because I asked all the questions like, why? I thought it was covered. And they were like, plastic surgeons, what they want to pay a plastic surgeon, it's not their rate. So they
Right.
only do a certain amount of them because they're not getting paid what they're supposed to. Well, I don't want a surgeon operating on me that isn't happy to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
right? So like if they only do a couple and they're looking at it as like charity work and I have to do this, then I don't really want them doing my boobs because I would like my boobs to come out pretty. This isn't like the medical part of it. This is the end, like finishing. This is putting the bow on it. And so you want a doctor there that is happy to be there, that is being paid well to be there, or has like a really heartfelt reason for being there. You don't want them there because they were dragged into it by insurance companies to fill a quota, right?
Yes.
To remain on their insurance list. You don't want that. It's just,
Right.
you're not getting the best. You're not getting the care, and care is so important. So yes, and all of your surgeons, and I have to say, when I was at the gala, I was so moved by, they raised money to get an MRI machine, the first MRI machine, Dave, get this, in Cabo San Lucas, the place where everybody goes and vacations and thinks of as a luxury resort and has a blast. They've been operating there without an MRI machine all these years, like forever. It's their very first one. I mean, my mind was like that. I don't know. These are big things. Yeah. Mission Plasticos is doing major things, and it's just so appreciated. And yeah.
Can I say something about the surgeons just really quick? So I encounter hundreds of plastic surgeons throughout the year, and we have about 500 who are on our volunteer roster, and they've gone to school for years and years and years. And in their regular practice, typically they're doing cosmetic surgery unless they work at a hospital, and then they're doing various types of reconstructive surgery. But the vast majority of our volunteers are in private practice doing cosmetic surgery. But the reason they went to medical school in the first place, when they were a little kid and dreamed of being a doctor, wasn't to do, cosmetic surgery. That's not what a child is thinking of. When they're dreaming about the future, they wanted to help people. They wanted to do something really important where they could help someone. And, that's still a part of who they are. And they get so much joy volunteering for us. And they come to us. We have plastic surgeons who contact us all the time and say, how do I get to be part of your program? And some of them want to do one surgery, they'll want to do one surgery a year. Some of them want to do as much as they can. Some of them have surgery centers and they'll offer their space for free, or others, they don't have a place to operate and we find a place for them to operate, but they just want to help someone. They just want to do it. And we've got, there's doctors who want to travel. They want to go overseas and have that experience. They want to do cases that they normally wouldn't encounter in the United States. Like you said before, children whose fingers are fused together, patients who have severe ear deformities, which is called microtia, cleft lip and palate, that you hear about all of the time. Just very unique cases that just aren't as common here. They're interested in doing that. But we have some heroes in the United States that they're not even looking for an adventure. They're saying, hey, can I operate in my own hometown, in my own business, completely for free, using all of my own supplies, getting my staff to volunteer, and I get absolutely nothing in return. Will you please let me do that? And it's like, I feel like I'm so lucky every day because everyone that I encounter are like the nicest, most generous humanitarians that you can imagine. And, talking about our volunteers and donors and our patients as well. And that's who I get to work with. But these doctors are amazing. And Dr. Karen Leong actually runs our Reshaping Lives Full Circle domestic program. And we're thrilled to, at this point, we've done it's over 200, almost 300 full breast reconstructions in the US since the program started. Many, 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 many more nipple reconstructions. We've, I don't want to say invented. We started this nipple reconstruction day, which is a very fun day for us. And we try to do it quarterly where we'll have 20 to 30 women come in who've had breast reconstruction, but they don't have the cherry on top, which I know is a complex decision, which you and I have talked about a little bit, Nicole. It's a complicated decision for women if they're going to do that, if they're going to kind of complete the full journey of care by having that final procedure. There's various things you can do. Some women opt to have just a, tattoo that looks like a nipple. And I sent you one over the weekend, which from a conference we attended.
Mind-blowing, by the way, the work that tattoo artist does. Let's give her a shout out. What is her name?
It's Janine McTasney, restorative ink specialist in Napa Valley. And she travels around with us doing these amazing 3-dimensional nipple tattoos free of charge. However, there's another procedure, and I didn't even know this existed. So, and I'm not going to get too technical, but it's a tiny flap surgery. So they give the patient a local anesthetic, just a little, needle injection to numb the area, and cut their scar tissue that they have in the front from their mastectomy, and kind of pinch it up, and then, to use layman's terms, in the shape of a nipple, and stitch it on the inside so that it's in the shape. It takes about 6 weeks to heal, and then they come back and have the color tattooed in. And the blood vessels are still attached. So you're just really pinching up the skin. You're just cutting it a little bit. So blood vessels are still attached. Has feeling, so it's essentially, it's part of your body. It's not just a picture like the three-dimensional, tattoos, just the color. And then, like I said, the tattoo artist will tattoo in the color. And I've looked at patients like up close, like my face is like, an inch away going, I can't tell the difference between their natural nipple and the tattooed nipple with the nipple reconstruction. You really cannot tell the difference. And, that's very exciting. And we've learned about a fairly new procedure, which seems like, why weren't they doing this forever? Because it seems super simple. But I just learned about this. You can tattoo in the nipple like you saw in the video, where you're just doing a tattoo, and then inject fat, and there's different brands of fat, not necessarily from your own body. Actually, it's better to use donor fat. And there's a product called Aloe Clay that we like to use. It's made by Tiger Aesthetics. And you just inject like a little tiny ball of fat where you've done the tattoo. And, that's beautiful. And you don't even have to have the little flap. So I know that's something new. That seems like that would have been the first thing, and someone would have thought of that years ago, but it's just kind of a new procedure. I'm sure you have to be very careful not to puncture the implant with the needle, but it's very surface level. And there's so many options, and it's just, so great for the self-esteem of the patient, as Nicole, just from your second stage really of reconstruction. I mean, you're almost complete at this point, but I'm sure, just the emotional roller coaster and journey that you're on going through that process.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And, when you say like they inject the little bit of fat, it's interesting because I think that a lot of women, when they go through mastectomies, especially double mastectomies, they don't want anything in their body. So this is why a lot of women opt for nothing and they just stay flat. And I respect that so much. I wish I was one of those women. However, not only am I single, I feel like I still feel young at heart, and I just love boobs. Like, sorry. I love boobs and I want to have them. And, and I get the whole thing of being flat, and it's just not me. I wanted them. But with the injection, it gets a little like, you're like, okay, but do I want to inject, something into my body? But I've already done the implants. And I'm a hypocrite because I've detoxed my entire life, and then I went and put implants in. So would I be open to that? Yes. And for people that don't know, like, I have one Barbie boob and I have one boob that has had the mastectomy, but we kept the nipple. It's nipple sparing mastectomy. So what's weird about it is that when I get dressed and I'm not wearing a bra, or I have a thin bra on, I just have one nipple poking out and the other one's flat. And so when I'm dressed and I'm like ready to go out, I enjoy the Barbie boob. Like, I'm like all about the Barbie boob. And I had even said to Dr. Kyle Song, who did my reconstruction, I said, should you just take the other one, and so that they're matching, and then I don't have to worry about a hard nipple? And he was like, no. He was like, no, and I don't want you doing a tattoo. We're going to do, and I think a lot of them call it origami nipple, right? So
yeah.
Take a piece of your
I love that.
An origami. So he's like, I could take some skin from your stomach and I'll wrap it up and I'll make it look like a nipple and we'll put it on. All of these are just huge decisions, because then I'm like, well, then am I at alert all the time? Like, so I just have hard nipples all the time, and I just have to go back to, padding the bra. But these are things that people probably don't think about, and that keep us patients up awake at night.
Right. And I get that. I get that. And we hear that all the time, but I've never heard the term Barbie boob before. And I
What's a
absolutely
Barbie?
love that. So
It's a Barbie boob.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna use that term with our patients because I love that term. But
Yeah.
no, there are options, but isn't it strange that no one thought about nipples? And we've been on TV talking about the program a few times, and then we realized we couldn't say the word nipple on network TV. Like on like morning news programs, we were going on and we were like, we were talking to our PR company and they're like, they don't want you to use the word nipple.
So what are you supposed to
Like,
say?
really?
What do you call it?
I don't know. I don't even know what we
Dave,
were
what do
saying.
you call a nipple? If you can't call it a nipple, what's it called?
I have no idea what. I mean,
I
I'm
mean, I don't know. I don't even remember what we were saying. We're like, can we say nips? Like we didn't know.
no, you
We
definitely
didn't know
can't.
what to say. Like it was this. I mean, everybody has them.
Your
I
baby
mean,
bottles, your sippy cups. I mean, what do we call the nipple?
Yeah.
What do you call it?
I don't know how you would talk about it and the end of the boob. I don't know what you say. What I don't know.
I
I'm trying to
know.
think. I mean, I've been
Headlights? Would you call
broadcasting
them
forever and
headlights?
I've never been told not to say nipple. I know you don't say nips. You 100% you don't say that.
No, no, because that rolls over into other
Yeah.
PC.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's our
Isn't that
headlights.
funny?
Yeah.
Isn't
That's
that super funny? So it was, and we couldn't figure it out. We're like, really? Like we're talking about surgery and breast reconstruction. But anyway, people just didn't realize that surgery was available. And even when we started the program, like in the very beginning, we weren't thinking about that. We were like, okay, we're going to put a tissue expander in, we're going to put an implant into the patient. And we weren't even thinking about nipple reconstruction. And I can't believe I wasn't thinking about it, or like it wasn't even a thing. And then, all of a sudden, we had, Dr. Karen Leong, and actually a medical resident from UCLA, Dr. Harsh Patel, came up with the idea of Nipple Reconstruction Day. And, there are hundreds and hundreds of patients that are on the waiting list for breast reconstruction and nipple reconstruction just in Southern California. And I don't want to name specific county hospitals, but hundreds at a few of the local county hospitals that we have actually volunteer medical residents and medical students that call the patients and say, we have got a nipple reconstruction day on the 25th actually coming up, and where we're doing reconstruction and tattooing all day, and calling the patients. And some of them had their reconstruction years ago and they didn't even know this was a possibility. So they're confident in their clothes with their Barbie boobs. They're very confident in their clothing. Like when they go out, they feel like they look good in their clothing and symmetrical, but then they don't feel confident, when they take their clothes off and, look at themselves in the mirror or are with a partner, a romantic partner. It's a very difficult situation. And to be able to provide this and to see how perfect they look. And you know what, even if they don't look like they did before or they don't look perfect and you want them, have them, get it done,
Yes.
And we're doing it free of charge. And by the way, our pay, just so that, because we're probably going to get people calling and inquiring. And when you've spoken about us in some different media outlets, we have gotten lots of inquiries. So thank you, Nicole. We appreciate
Oh,
that because we're always trying to reach patients.
oh, I love that so much. Oh,
Yes,
good.
that's one of our biggest needs is connecting with people who need our services, trying to find them. And
Listen,
you know,
here's the thing is that so you work with doctors who are so willing and anxious and happy to do these surgeries. It's not the general woman's experience. Okay. When we go through it, and listen, my doctors have learned who I am and how strong I am and what an advocate I am because I've made them aware, and
yes.
I tell them, and I put myself at the top of their list of everything. They still, it hits a wall. It hits this wall of like, it comes down to money. And okay, go get on this waiting list. Okay. Well, oh, I got to the top of that waiting list. Well, we need, $7,000, whatever it is. I don't have that. And if I had that to just throw around, I don't think I would be giving it to you, as I had said before. And it makes you question, well, if I'm not willing to pay them, then why am I allowing them to operate on me? So then you go get on another waiting list. And none of these doctors will provide before and after pictures. It's just not part of their policy, which I found astounding. I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, I'm going to go under the knife and you don't have like a before and after, or like, you can't give me a resume. You can't give me anything. No. We don't do it like that, but give
Wow.
us your money and just trust us. And I'm like, I don't think so. So, it's trying on so many levels. Like, you want this help, and then you feel like, am I an ass for poo-pooing it? Because you're like, okay, great, you're going to give it to me, but I don't know that I trust you. And what's this going to look like after if you can't provide me with some kind of assurance of like, we can do this and it's going to look okay. And like my doctors, for instance, they are doing, and I say this manosphere world because men, since they're not really the ones getting the mastectomies for the most part, they don't really give a shit, to be honest. Okay. So they do these scars that go clear across women's chest. And when I went in for mine, I said, do you mind? Would you mind going up and down rather than across my chest? Up and down, because I feel like those scars will be easier to hide. And like, if I want to wear something that has like a V-neck or a side boob in the future, I won't have like these big gashes across my chest. And they were like, yeah, I don't see why not. And I was like, mind blown again, because I was like, you're just doing this to women, and women aren't questioning it because they're there and they're putting their trust in you, and you don't care. And they're just slicing women across the chest. And the doctor was like, yeah, sure. And after radiation, now that scar is completely gone, because the radiation, takes away the scar. So I really don't have any mastectomy scars. Whereas there's other women walking around with them clear across their chest because men didn't think about it to go up and down. They just wanted to go side to side because that's what they were taught. That's what they do. And this is routine, and that's it. So to have a foundation of doctors that are so talented, so educated, so caring, to come along and like change the story and change the outcome, it's just priceless. It's just priceless. And I don't know. I thank you. I want the word out there as much as possible. I want the foundation to grow. I want women to benefit from this because they're really getting gypped.
Yes.
They really are. We're getting gypped at the doctor's office and through our insurance companies. We are. And this needs to grow.
Right. So regarding patients, we would love to hear from patients. We would love your inquiry. We're not doing, breast augmentations. Sometimes we'll have people who will approach us for that. We're doing breast reconstruction. And in the past, we didn't take patients who'd had radiation. We were concerned about the possibility of infection, implant rejection. Those percentages are higher when a patient has had radiation. However, now, on a case-by-case basis, depending on how long ago and what type of radiation, we are taking some patients who've had radiation. The patient needs to be, have completed their chemotherapy and all of their treatment and be cancer-free, and they need to be otherwise healthy. So where we don't want a heavy smoker with high blood pressure, etc. We want the patient to be otherwise healthy. And this will be an outpatient surgery. So it'll be a simple reconstruction with a tissue expander or an implant. And we'll also, we'll take you through the full journey. We'll do the symmetry surgery, so you match on both sides. And then if you choose, we'll do nipple reconstruction. So we want to get you all the way to the finish line. We're not going to bring you in and just do one phase and be, okay, goodbye. We're going to do the full journey of care for qualified patients. And we're looking for patients who really don't have access or don't have easy access. So people who, and we know that even people who are middle income, many times cannot afford a copay. They're choosing, am I going to make my car payment so I can drive to work? Or am I going to pay for this surgery? Like you were saying, Nicole, like if you were able to save up the money, you might need something for your child or something, You have to take care of some plumbing at your house. People don't realize this is not easily accessible. So we don't do background checks. We don't ask for financial documents. We know that when people come to us, they're coming to us because we're the last resource, and we respect the patients, and we want this to be a dignified process. And we're very confidential, and we just want to help you with nothing in return. You don't have to allow us to take pictures and use it for marketing purposes. We would love that. We would love to put your picture on our social media to help us raise funds for the program or to recruit doctors, but you don't have to do that. You can come in, no photos, meet with your doctor, completely confidential, and have your surgery. And we're so happy to do that. In fact, that's our mission, to do that. And we would love to help you. So please contact us.
And you bring up such a great point, because a lot of people, if they can save up the money, is it justifiable to then go spend it on yourself? And that's where I was at. I was like, okay, I could gather up this money, maybe. Is that okay? Because what happens? And look, my child then went and broke her leg, and then we had more medical expenses, right? Like, or is this, this is a couple months rent. Like there's things like this. I don't have anything saved away for a rainy day, but boy, let me go get new boobs. And, mom guilt sets in, female guilt sets in. And I don't know why we carry that still, but we do. We're trying to generationally change that, right? Like, let's get that out of the way. But we do. We carry it as guilt, as like, oh my gosh, this is for me. This is selfish, blah, blah, blah. And it's not. It's not. And we understand that, right? And so it's people like you that are getting women like me the opportunity to get it done and realize that, like, it's game changing. It just, like, it feels so good to be able to, like, have boobs and feel like I wasn't selfish for doing it.
Absolutely. And one other thing I want to point out, and you experienced this as well, when you had your reconstruction, you're not having a different experience than a patient who could pay $100,000 for the treatment. You're going to a board certified plastic surgeon to their office for your consultation. You're going to an accredited surgery center. You're getting the top medical devices, highly rated medical devices are used in your surgery. You're having, an anesthesiologist that's highly trained, skilled nurses for your medical team. You're having the exact same experience as someone with a platinum insurance plan or a cash patient would have. You're not getting like a lower standard of care at all. And we're very proud of that. You're getting the highest level of care through our program.
Yes. And I said this when I spoke at the gala. I wasn't just getting any plastic surgeon. I was getting like top of their game. If I had done it through my insurance, I would have been at my local hospital, just in a room full of other people in beds, just like one after the other. It would have been that scenario. I got to go to a private office, first class, all the way. The treatment was like, yes, if I had privately paid for a surgery, it was absolutely top of the line. Like it was first class all the way.
And that it's a board certified plastic surgeon through our program. It's not a medical resident who's training or a general surgeon who's performing reconstructive surgery, which may be the case in some areas at hospitals that treat uninsured patients or patients on, government programs. So you're getting a highly trained surgeon through our program. And we, when surgeons and nurses apply to be part of our program, we do a background check. We check their medical licenses. We interview them. They don't just, raise their hand and say, hey, I would like to be a part of your program. It's like applying for any type of job. And we're so grateful for them. Like I said, they're kind of like the top percentage of humanity, these people who want to, use their highly skilled hands and brains to help other people completely free of charge. They're like, I want to work for you for free. We love them. But yes, you're getting the best of the best. And we want to give that to our patients. Absolutely.
And just a little housewives throw out. Bill Aiden is on the board. Bill Aiden of husband to Jennifer Aiden on New Jersey Housewives. He's on it, and we all know by watching he's an amazing surgeon.
Yes.
And these are just people that have made it, and they know what giving back means. Like, they know how that enriches their life. So yes, all the doctors are heavily vetted. You're not getting, just some student that's, trying things for the first time. So yeah, it's top notch.
It's top notch. And yes, Bill Aiden's on our Council of Trustees. He's a wonderful man and a humanitarian, and I absolutely love him. He deeply cares about the program, and he and his wife are donors to our organization. They're not just, they became part of the program. We met Bill Aiden actually at a plastic surgery conference, so he's involved because that's where his heart is. And I don't know if you saw on social media, one of his employees that, works in his practice just lost her battle with breast cancer. And he's absolutely devastated right now, their whole offices. So he cares deeply about our cause, and he's very involved, and he's a lovely person. So yes.
Yeah.
He is.
And they were at the event. I mean, they flew all the way across the country and showed up at the event in Southern California. So yeah, and posted about it, and it's how I became friends with Jen Aiden. And it's just they're definitely givers.
They are.
Well, thank you. Tell us where anybody can find Mission Plasticos.
Okay, I know our name is kind of weird, right? It might be strange to spell. So it's Mission Plasticos. So like plastic OS, missionplasticos.org. So you can Google it, missionplasticos.org. And the name of our local program is Reshaping Lives Full Circle. And there's also a website for that, but you can go to missionplasticos.org and click on that program. And if you want to contact us, it's info@missionplasticos.org. And we would absolutely love to hear from you.
We love you, and we thank you. I am saying that from everybody that's participated in this program. Just thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you for the opportunity to share our work. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
That was awesome. That was really good. As I said, it's always great to do shows where obviously you're passing along good information. It's always interesting, Nicole. When we've all followed your journey and where you are now. I think it's brave that you've shared it so much. When I'm just going to ask you, just from a guy's point of view, okay? Because you said on the show that breasts are important. That you've always liked breasts, and there's some men out there who don't prefer them. I'd say the majority of men I know like breasts. They like looking at breasts. I'm watching Andy Cohen last night with Whitney, and Whitney had 90% of her breasts hanging out, and I'm sitting there listening to the show because I'm interested in housewives. But I'm telling you, I don't know if I looked at anyone's face the entire show. I cannot stop staring at her breasts. And, here I am in my 50s, and nothing has changed since I was 5 years old. I'm like, they're out there, want to look. And I think there are guys like that, there are girls like that too, that admire breasts. So when they are taken away from a female's body, it's devastating.
Yes, it can be. It can be. And some women are fine with it. I mean, I think if I was like a really flat chested woman most of my life, I probably wouldn't have had such a hard time like transitioning into a flat chest. But no, like you, I'm a fan of them. They're just good. And I'm not doing it to catch a man or for a man's interest or approval or likes or any of that. It's truly because I like them. And they're tiny, and I love them, and they're tiny, and I wanted them as small as possible, but they're there.
Yeah.
And it's just it just means something to me. I don't know what it is. I think they're great, and I can admire big huge boobs on other people. Oh, admire that all day long.
Yeah.
That's never going to be me again, ever. I never actually enjoyed having big, huge boobs on myself. I like looking at them on other people. Having them is a whole different ball game. So, but just to have two little perky, small girls on my chest gives me so much confidence, and it's a self-confidence, and it's not because I want guys looking at them, or
Yeah.
it's
No,
not. It's for me.
yeah, that's it. The way you feel as a person, and I think
Yeah.
honestly, just growing up and you start paying attention to, the sex of a male, the sex of a female is the thing that makes a woman a woman. The difference is, you notice boobs. And I think for boy, at least for me as a boy, that's how it was growing up. You start realizing it. What didn't have to be the big giant boobs, like you said, but the shape. Like for me, my best friend, we talk about this all the time. He prefers a female that is almost just straight up and down, no shape. And I was like, I've always said the thing that makes a female is the shape, the hips, the shoulders, the boobs, the beautiful face, the hair, everything that goes into being a female. And as again, to have something taken away, whether it's sickness or an accident or a birth defect, is tough. I imagine mentally. You did say it's something interesting because you brought it up on the show earlier months ago. Remember when Kim Kardashian came out with a new bra and it had the nipples that were always out, and you were like,
Yeah.
do guys like that? I think there are a lot of guys out there that like the idea that they notice a girl and they can see the nipples through the shirt. I don't know. Maybe it's the feeling of always wondering what's underneath there. Like you could wear a bathing suit top, but you're still going to hide 10%. I think we go, okay, but what's the other 10%? In our head, there's a lot of skin, but we want to know the rest. And when the nipples are, it kind of gives you the focal point. So I could see why Kim Kardashian went after that market. But you said, I don't want to have hard nipples that are always erect. It's not what I want when I leave the house. Is it because it's not your choice to be like that, or you just feel like you're drawing more attention to yourself?
I just don't want to look in the mirror and see two erect nipples. And if I could strangle you through the screen, I would.
Yeah,
What
good.
defines a woman is definitely not her curves or whether she has boobs or
Well,
not. What
no,
defines
I'm
a woman
saying
is like
for
what's going
boy,
on
difference
inside.
of a guy and a girl. Besides taking, when your parents
Stop
are
it. No,
saying,
you can't
this is
say
your
that,
brother,
Dave.
this is your sister.
No, Dave, that's off the table. You can't say that anymore. It's
Well, I
just
know.
not
Well, I
because
didn't.
you can't. You have to take that off the table. Okay? No, I don't care if she's straight up and down. I don't care. Listen, I was so curvy back in the day. I have like pancake ass now. My stomach looks like a raisin, and I've got a Barbie boob. Like, and I used to be everything that I complained about back in the day. I would like kill somebody to have that back. I'm more of a woman I am now than then. So we have to take that off the table. This is wrong wording. I think what you're trying to say is what you're more sexually attracted to, which is different. So like, you know, eh, even men who are gay, they're maybe attracted to a curvier guy or a thinner guy.
Yep.
Everybody has their preference.
Yeah.
Women, we like a dad bob, or we like a heroin chic guy, or we like a muscle guy. This is all preference, and none of this defines if you're a man or a woman or any of it. So get that off the table. I hated that comment from you. You're better than that.
I don't know if I am. I said it. I don't know if I am.
Well, I love your honesty. I do love your honesty. This is why we are friends. It's about how a woman feels and how
Well,
she feels and how
100%.
she carries
Nothing's
herself,
important
right?
except how the individual feels. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah,
It's how
and you
you feel.
dumb guys, you don't realize that it's how we carry ourselves, whether you're attracted or not, right? So you could be like the most voluptuous, gorgeous looking person. If your spirit inside is like shelled up and like insecure and troubled and all these things, you don't walk around, you
Yep.
just don't attract other people. It's really about your spirit and your essence and the energy that you put out. It's how you carry yourself. And that's it. That's all it should be about, right? We
I
just
agree.
are, and I get it. Yes, you're attracted to boobs. I'm attracted to boobs, but I'm straight as they come. But I love a good set of tits. Like it's just a thing.
See,
Just a thing.
and I've said this before to you. I go, the women I know, honestly, I feel always go out and present themselves and dress for other women. Like
Yes.
guys honestly don't pay attention as much as, girls think, but at the same time, that's fine too. But I always love when women will say, boy, she has a great rear end, or she has great boobs, or she has great hair. They're so quick to give compliments to their women when it comes to that. Guys would never do that.
I know.
Guys would go, oh man, you check out that guy's abs, man. That guy, they would never say to their friends, even if they love that guy like a brother, they would never give a compliment like that. Guys are too insecure. They wouldn't do it.
Their egos get in the way.
Yeah, 100%. They wouldn't.
This
They
is
just
true.
wouldn't do it.
Listen, women dress for themselves and the gays. Leaving that on the table. That's it.
All right, we should end
All
it
right.
there. There
Thank
you go.
you. Thank you for joining us and all our boob talk. And we will see you next week.